I understand double O's have a very short life expectancy.
Eon House is the headquarters of production for all James Bond films. And I'm here to meet Lindy Hemming, the costume designer who successfully merged the world of James Bond with the realm of high fashion. Casino Royale presents a new Bond. That's Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Talk to me about his look. Was it simply a matter of dressing him in Brioni?
No. In the beginning of Casino Royale, we meet him. He's a rather sexy, scruffy, undercover, sweaty, you know. He's down there in Madagascar and various places chasing after some terrorists. And so I had to design him a wardrobe which he would look like he was part of the community in a way, the kind of way police go undercover, you know. Then he ends up going to the Bahamas, and once he's in the Bahamas, we see him in the most stunning pair of swimming trunks, which he and I chose, and which were made for him by La Perla, and they are sexy. So after he's past the middle of the film, you see him arriving in Montenegro, where he's going to take part in the Casino Royale card game. And at that point, he really becomes like the suited Bond.
Mesdames et messieurs, you have each deposited $10 million buy-in.
James Bond and Brioni are practically synonymous today.
Yeah.
How did you make the connection between Brioni? You brought them on board.
Yes, I did bring them on board. And the way it happened was, right at the beginning of GoldenEye, the head of the company, Dr. Angeloni, said, well, why don't you come and visit our factory in Penne? So I went to Italy, went to the factory, looked at it and thought, well, it looks like it could do it. So then they did some samples and showed me their things they produced. And I just took a big leap of faith. And so did they, because the arrangement has been, ever since then, that whatever I ask them for, they make.
I will be keeping my eye on our government's money and off your perfectly formed house.
You noticed.
Bond's girls
Yes.
were very scantily clad. Today they are dripping in designer labels. Talk to me about what attracted you to Roberto Cavalli.
I thought it was Vespa. So my job at the beginning was to look through all the fashion magazines, look at people's collections and lookbooks and things, and look to see what I could find that I thought would be something you could buy in a hotel, which James Bond would buy for Eva Green as Vespa, and which I liked, you know, which I thought was right. And then in the end, we saw in a lookbook a lilac-coloured dress in Cavalli, which I really thought would be fantastic. I sort of went out looking for a fabric that would be right for her, and they didn't produce anything in that colour, this sort of purpley mulberry sort of colour, and but they said, well, they would.
Bond costumes are really put to the test. Do you have to make more than one?
We actually had to make about 30 of each of the things because of the amount of distress, shooting, falling, jumping, you know, that he himself did. And then, of course, there have to be multiples of the costume for the stunt people. When you've got very firmly know what you want to do with the actor and the director, you go and talk to the stunt coordinator, who is an important person in the film, and you explain to them what your ideal of what the person would be wearing is. And with the women it's really difficult, because often you want them to have bare arms and bare legs, and sometimes they may be being dragged through Venice in this film, along the cobbles, you know. And then they go through it with the actor and the other stunt people and say, well, could her legs really be bare? Would she be able to be pulled if she has a harness on? Would it be able to be hidden underneath? If she falls from a high building with a wire on, will the wire be able to be hidden with this little amount of clothing? And so it's a process, and it does affect your design in the end. I want the shoes to be perfect and everything to be perfect, and often it isn't, you know, often it hasn't worked. But I also want the actor to come into the trailer and look at themselves in the mirror and think, yeah, that's Vespa, or, you know, whoever it is. I want them to feel like that, because my ego says, you know, that's when I've done my job properly.